Good afternoon. My name is Kevin Feeley. I would like to speak with you on the subject of cannabis or marijuana and its derivatives in the treatment of lymphoma and the side effects of cancer treatment and recovery. I will cover some ethnobotanically significant information as well. Cannabis originates in Central Asia. Cannabis has been utilized by human beings for thousands of years. Some of the earliest evidence of inhalation of the fumes from burning cannabis indica floral clusters dates back thousands of years to the site fumes of the Central Asian steppes.
I'm going to have to ask you to slow down just a bit.
Oh, that's fine.
I'm sorry.
Little more. The sightings of the Central Asian steppes also brought us the domestication of the horse. This was one of the few instances of smoking in the pre-Columbian Eastern Hemisphere. One of the cultures that adopted cannabis was the Chinese. Traditional Chinese medicine, or TCM, is the oldest continuously used medical system in human history. With thousands of years of empirical data behind them, TCM practitioners have vetted out the plants that best serve the needs of the patient. One classification within TCM is called tonics. Tonics are considered non-toxic and safe for daily consumption. One popular tonic within TCM is ginseng. Another is cannabis. Cannabis preparations are also considered tonics by TCM, and as such have thousands of years of empirical data to back up their efficacy. During the Mexican Revolution, the usage of cannabis sativa became popular with the members of the populist uprising. Cannabis sativa, the southern cousin of cannabis indica, had been transported to the Western Hemisphere by individuals from the Indian subcontinent, brought here as physical labor. Cannabis sativa, being sacred to Shiva, was brought along with many other traditions and customs and adopted by the native and European descended populations as a recreational euphorant. Cannabinoids are a complex group of organic compounds. Included are tetrahydrocannabinol, THC, cannabidiol, CBD, and cannabinol, CBN. There are also a wide array of secondary compounds, including terpenoids, flavonoids, phenols, and other minor cannabinoids contained within any average sample of cannabis. By asserting that the chemically synthesized or isolated agents provides the same level of relief that whole organic plant sources can is absurd. The greater cannabinoid complex works in a highly synergistic fashion. The research on the effects that the secondary cannabinoids have on the action of cannabis products within the human body is just now beginning to be understood. The assumption that this plant can produce another silver bullet for the exploitation by the pharmaceutical industry is spurious at best, and guided not by the thought of easing of suffering, but with the intention of fattening yet another bottom line. Around the turn of the 20th century, many discoveries were made, and numerous novel pharmacologically significant compounds were isolated. At the same time, these discoveries were being distributed to the public without much vetting. These compounds and extractions could be purchased at many druggists on an over-the-counter basis. In response, tighter regulations on drugs and their distribution and purity created a new safety net for society. Some thought that this did not go far enough, so they pushed to flatly alcohol as well. We all remember how well that went, don't we? Though their intentions may have been in the right place, they failed to realize that alcohol is not at fault. There is no question how history has interpreted the experiment of American temperance, an era of violence and corruption blossomed, the likes of which is still legendary. But blind to this lesson, we trudge on. Numerous plant species are cultivated for the biopharmaceutical market, such as opiates, coca, jimsonweed, and yams. A change in the law will be of direct benefit to the farmers of Iowa. By encouraging local production, quality controls maintained, and Iowa's farmers will have a lucrative crop that can be put into immediate rotation. Jobs will be created by the need for the processing of finished cannabis products. Much of this work is done by hand, and large-scale production techniques still require a great deal of hands-on processing. Mature cannabis floral clusters are not so much flowers as very delicate fruit. The economic benefits will be numerous. Jobs. I first encountered marijuana in college. I tried it and wasn't sure if I liked it, so I tried it again. And I liked it. I found that it made me feel giggly and hungry. It was pleasant. And unlike alcohol, when I woke the next day, I felt fine. Throughout the next couple of years, I occasionally enjoyed a few puffs. Then life moved on. Life, kids, career, back pain. More back pain, and even more back pain. Visits to the doctor and the chiropractor yielded only temporary relief. One day I ran into an old friend. That old friend shared a puff with me, and the pain was gone. Finally, I found something that worked, so I used it. Then I stopped using it because I wanted to be a law-abiding citizen. And the pain returned. I turned to exercise. For a while that worked. But the pain returned, and the numbness started. It got worse. It got to the point where I couldn't feel below my navel. So I went to the emergency room. Lymphoma of the spine. It had been there for about 7 years. My cannabis consumption had been keeping the swelling down so that my normal, healthy, pre-cancer life was extended well beyond what it should have been. After undergoing treatments, I was eased off the steroids to see if the tumor would re-express. Sure enough, it did, and it had spread. I collapsed at home and was put into the hospital. I began dropping weight. After nearly dying and sometime in a semi-coma, I returned to consciousness, though my appetite didn't return. The chemotherapy drugs and other medications that I was on were causing uncontrollable nausea. I vomited at every meal, and even in between. I lost over 100 pounds. During this time, I was put on anti-nausea medications with known harmful side effects. The drugs did little more than suppress my gag reflex. Though I was able to keep food down, it was not pleasant. Finally, my wife requested that I be put on Marinol to see if this would help the side effects of the chemotherapy. Though it did ease some of the nausea, it did little for the other symptoms I was experiencing. Once released from the hospital, I returned home to rebuild my life. Still very weak and suffering the consequences of numerous chemotherapy treatments on my cancer-weakened body, I desperately needed to get nutrients to begin healing. I knew of one thing that could help, though I was also aware of the legal consequences. I returned to a medicine that I knew would work and I knew wouldn't harm me in any unknown ways, cannabis. Once I procured some and was able to medicate, I ate a meal. And I didn't vomit. For the first time in a long time, I did not vomit. After that meal, I went and laid down. And for the first time in a long time, I did not ache all over. The wound in my spine did not throb. The nerve pain in my feet did not send sparks up and down my legs. I felt human again. Since then, I gained weight and up and about, and starting a new job at the end of the month, and returning to productive society. While at home, I have rearranged the furniture, cleaned the house a number of times, gotten to work on many personal projects, and am enjoying time with my family. My recovery has been a long one, and it is far from over. That recovery would not have been possible without cannabis at my disposal. There are many others who are in the position I have been in, and without the ability to get medicine that will make the difference between recovery and a nursing home, this is unfortunate. There is no reason that grandmothers with glaucoma should go blind in the state of Iowa. There is no reason that cancer patients should not get to eat in the state of Iowa. There is no reason, other than, frankly, feeble ones that have been given. As of today, 13 states, as well as the federal government, recognize that cannabis and its derivatives have a significant medical action on numerous recognized disorders. Many other industrialized nations have as well. For Iowa to trail in an area so significant to so many Iowans is beyond me. Cannabis reform is not only a legal issue, it is also an economic issue, a moral issue, and a matter of common sense. If you would like to make Iowans safer, then put a safer alternative in their hands. Cannabis handles a headache without the danger of ulcers and a much lower liver toxicity than any over-the-counter pain medication. It handles nausea without the danger of neurological damage and handles insomnia without the danger of overdose. I consume cannabis on a regular basis to maintain my health. A day without cannabis for me is a day I would rather not have. Pain and nausea still haunt me, and doctors tell me probably will for the rest of my life. Nothing else has provided me with the relief I need, while at the same time allowing me to function as a productive member of society and with my household. I am a criminal because of your inaction, because of your long-standing unwillingness to hear the facts about cannabis species and their derivatives. I am a criminal and will continue to be one until the day you finally rub your hands and do something about this inequity. People are suffering that need not suffer. People are rotting in jail that need not be there. All of this is wasting tax dollars and hours of productivity. How much good will a person like me do at their new job if all they can do is lie in bed, try not to vomit, and do their best to ignore the pain? Or should I rely upon your board-approved medications and lie in bed all day, knocked out on narcotics, unable to function in the real world or relate to other human beings? Should I enjoy a meal or take your board-approved medications and take my chances with neurological disorders and dangerous spasms? At what point do my children get to stop worrying that I might be taken away just because I want to be able to live a normal life? At what point do I get to stop being a criminal, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you.